And whenever you talk to people, I think just normal people see a lot, they're very frustrated about what's been happening in the economy. Sure, the Biden administration is touting Bidenomics, big government spending, massive amounts of investment, or what they're calling investment, quote unquote investment, but really it's just increasing government spending throughout the economy, a lot of corporate welfare. Hello, welcome to this week's economy. I'm your host, Dr. Vance Ginn. Thank you for joining me again today. Well, today is December 22nd, 2023, almost Christmas, almost the end of 2023. And that's what I really want to talk to you about today is a recap of what's happened over this year. It's been a year of ups and downs when you look at the economy, and things have looked good on the surface for many of the measures like GDP, the labor force, or jobs reports that have come out. But as we've talked about each and every week, is we've got to make sure we dig underneath those numbers to see what's actually happening. Where GDP looks strong on the surface, to exclude government, to exclude some of these short-term private inventories, it's not as robust as what it otherwise would seem. When you look at the labor market, yes, some of the numbers look pretty high, but when you exclude unproductive government workers and you exclude revisions that have happened, which have been major revisions over the last year, there have also been a lot of problems within the labor market. And whenever you talk to people, I think just normal people see a lot of, they're very frustrated about what's been happening in the economy. Sure, the Biden administration is touting Bidenomics, big government spending, massive amounts of investment, or what they're calling investment, quote unquote investment, but really it's just increasing government spending throughout the economy, a lot of corporate welfare, and then a lot of regulations that have been happening with executive orders. And then we've had the Federal Reserve, right, printing all this money out there. And no wonder we have a lot of inflation that's happening. There's also a lot of inflationary pressures that are within these markets that are being distorted over time by that amount of money that's being put into the economy, and also by the redistribution of spending that has to come from private sector taxes, right, in order for Congress to spend, and also for the executive branch, the Biden administration, to regulate that. That also distorts a lot of free market outcomes that would otherwise provide more paths to let people prosper. And so I think these are all things that we need to continue to watch. And with inflation, this is really hitting people hard because, yes, inflation is moderating down to about 3% now. But whenever you look at the core, it's still closer to 4%. But also these are building on, right? It's compounding effect over time to where people's wages are increasing, but they weren't increasing as fast for a long period. So they were already falling behind. And so now that they are catching back up, they're still behind from where they were before. Some estimates show that the real median household income is down about $7,000 since Biden took office. And so that might be a good indication of how people feel across the country when 84% of Americans see that the economy is the number one concern on their mind. And so I think that's something that we're, need to continue to watch for 2024, which I'm leading a lot of my projections for 2024 for this week's economy. So you don't want to miss it. I know we got a lot going on in the holidays, but I'm going to make these pretty short so that way you can get what you need and move on, just like I am. Take some time off as well. So it'll be good it's good to be with you, but at the same time, I'm ready to spend some time with my family and friends as well. One thing I did want to highlight too is there's a lot of good work that's happened across the country by a lot of state think tanks. These state think tanks, these free market think tanks really have some great people working on key economic issues and other public policy areas that maybe you may not even know about, but you should really check them out. No matter which state you're in, I think pretty much every state has some sort of a free market think tank. I'm in Texas, where the Texas Public Policy Foundation's out at. There's others that are out there as well, but those are some you want to check out. But others that I've been working with across the country, with the Pelican Institute in Louisiana, doing a lot of great work working on the responsible Louisiana budget, also looking at tax reforms there to really lower and eliminate their personal income tax, occupational licensing reform, constitutional reforms, education choice. I mean, all these things are been really big there, and they're doing a great job. The James Madison Institute in Louisiana, they're doing a great job there. I mean, Florida has been doing a lot of great things, and a lot of it behind the scenes has been what the James Madison Institute is doing. You have the Kansas Policy Institute over in Kansas. They're also doing a great job with the budget and everything else. The Mackinac Center up in Michigan has been doing a great job. A Beacon Center in Tennessee. I can just go through each one. The Georgia Center for Opportunity in Georgia, right? I can go through each one of these states, and I've been working with a lot of those folks across the country and a lot of these state think tanks. And these are really bright people that are motivated to do the right thing to ultimately let people prosper. I think they may have different words of how they use it, and even my I'm not talking about just material prosperity, but also other types of prosperity, a bit more freedom, individual liberty, all that stuff. I think that's a really big part of letting people prosper. And so I'm really happy for what they're doing. Of course, at the national level, you also have a lot of great groups, free market think tanks that are also providing good public policy for Congress and other things. They're not always getting their way right now, but ordinarily they have a lot of good stuff that they're talking about. Big ones that I follow have been, the Cato Institute, Heritage Foundation. There's some other good ones that are out there. The Reason Foundation is another good one. And then there's other ones too that I like that I've had other guests on my Let People Prosper show, like the Libertarian Christian Institute. You should check them out. They've got a lot of great stuff that's going on there. And there's a lot more that you should check out. But I highly recommend many of them because they are doing a great service for the country and for their states and for local governments. Yeah, you don't want to miss. In next week's Let People Prosper show, I'm going to just do it myself, solo one for Christmas, right? It's tough to get people around this time of year to come on. So I just going to provide an overview about the reason for the season, which is Jesus Christ being born, but also what's going on in the economy and some other things. But one of the things that I also want to say is that, I've been thankful for this year. There's been a lot of good things that have happened in my life and my wife and my kids, and just very thankful for everything that they've done and are doing. And just so proud of them and blessed to have them in my life, along with people that I work with. Caroline Chapman, who helps with all these editing all these shows and keeping me in line in a lot of ways, and some others who've been helping with branding and things of that nature. This has really been a great year of growth and grace, which was my word for the year. So I'm very thankful for that. Also, what I'm thankful for is a lot of the productivity that I've been able to have over the last year. Just running through a few numbers that I will again then, but just wanted to update you now for some of you who only listen to This Week's Economy. The Let People Prosper episodes, I had 52 of them this year. This Week's Economy episodes, which I started this year, have 41. So thank you for going and listening to all those. Commentaries and blog posts had 96 this year at many different think tanks and on my website, vanceginn.com. So that's 8 per month or 2 per week. So I've been busy. Research papers, I had 24 of those published this year. A lot of those were sustainable, responsible, conservative budgets for different states, but also a lot of other issues, occupational licensing being one, tax reform being another one, and some antitrust papers as well. So don't miss those. Interviews with radios or TV, had 60 of those this year, or 5 per month. And speaking engagements, whether in person, on Zoom, on other people's podcasts, I had 24 of those or 2 per month. So it's been a very busy year, but I'm blessed to have had so many opportunities. And I look forward to 2024, where I have more of those opportunities. Maybe with some of you, reach out to me. I love to connect with you and speak or be on your podcast. That'd be fantastic. So getting up to Christmas and everything, the quote of the week that I found was actually from December 25th, Christmas Day, 2021. Statement by President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden on Christmas. Imagine that. So this is the quote that I thought I would share today as we get close to Christmas on Monday. They say, on behalf of our family, we wish a Merry Christmas to everyone in the United States and around the world who is celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ and the promise of hope and renewal. During this season of joy, we are inspired by the countless Americans who are a reminder that the things we hold sacred unite us and transcend distance, time, and even the constraints of pandemic. Faith, family, and friendship. And this was kind of when all that stuff was going on. Love of the arts and so much more. These are the gifts from the heart. So it was just interesting, and I'm glad they mentioned Jesus Christ and everything. And so it says, as we celebrate our Christmas in the White House, we see the world through the eyes of the child born on this day of hope and love, peace and joy, and the light that shines with us all. I think that's very good. It's humbling, and I'm glad to see that from President Biden on that Christmas. And I hope that we can continue to come together as a country. And then for the Bible verse of the week is Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder. And his name will be Wonderful, Mighty Counselor, God Everlasting, Father, Prince of Peace. That's a great way to end it this week. I hope and pray that you have a blessed Christmas. Remember, Jesus is the reason of the season. And until next time, let people prosper.